I don't know about you, but I, for one, am sick and tired of all of this election anxiety. Am I the only one that's feeling anxiety with this entire presidential election here in 2020? I mean, it's just so damn frustrating. It's every damn day. Like, I voted for Biden. I wanted him to win. That's my stance, okay? And so like I'm just going to go through my entire range of anxiety for this election where it stands right now, because this episode of the McTaggart Attack Podcast will be out Monday, um, December 14th, right? Yeah. Which is the day that the Electoral College gets finalized or whatever. And then we have January 6th, where the Senate will sign off on it or something rather. But tomorrow's the big day where the Electoral College finally gets finalized and stuff like that. But like that whole week of the election was just exasperating. It was just terrible. Like, election day happens. I'm feeling pretty good on election day. I'm feeling good about things. I'm thinking things are going to be okay. I'm feeling pretty good about Biden's chances. And then Tuesday night, I'm watching the election results, and it's not looking good. Like, Trump is like kicking his ass. But they keep saying that, we're not going to know about all of the votes until a few days later. That's what they've been saying for months now. That's what they've been preparing us for this entire time. And I understand that, but I still thought we'd at least have some sort of decision by Tuesday night. But we didn't, because like when I went to sleep, Trump was in the lead. And then I woke up the next day and I didn't even like sort of pay attention Wednesday morning because I had work stuff to do. I actually had to go into work. And I really didn't know what was happening. I kind of read a little bit about it, and it looked like Biden was gaining. There were states that still had to be finalized. There was, what was it? It was Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I think Wisconsin and Michigan were still on were still getting counted then. But those are all the states that didn't allow you to count any mail-in votes until after the in-person portion of the election took place. Until they counted all the votes of the people who voted in person, which was stupid, if you ask me. And then as the days go by that week, I'm feeling pretty damn good about things, because things are finally leading into Biden's favor, and people were saying he's probably going to win this. And then all of the states, that Saturday, the race was declared for Biden on Saturday. And then that was also the day where Rudy Giuliani had his press conference at that place next to the porn shop or whatever it was. But I was feeling pretty good Saturday. Felt great when it was finally announced that Biden had won, that he had been declared the winner by CNN, all CBS, all the major news outlets, even Fox News declared him the winner. And then Rudy Giuliani said that stupid thing. He said such a stupid fucking thing that I didn't realize how stupid it was until I heard it, until I thought of it today, when he said that elections aren't decided by the people, they're decided by the courts. I'm like, no, they're not. They're decided by the people. The people, the votes. Elections don't get, decided by the courts. What the fuck, stupid, bizarro world does he fucking live? And so like, it's been like a roller coaster of emotion for me this entire damn time with all of this election stuff, because like I keep looking at social media to find out what's going on, specifically Twitter. Twitter's a good resource, even though Twitter shouldn't be a resource for anything. Who the fuck are we kidding? And TikTok, I go to TikTok because there's a lot of political experts on TikTok. They're the same people who were the virus experts a few months before, so now they're the political experts telling me how everything's going to be okay or whatever, and how the hell can I trust these people? Because they're on TikTok, for crap's sake. And then lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit going to the Supreme Court. Like, Trump loves to sue people. He doesn't even, like, I've learned through all of this that you can sue someone for no apparent reason. You can sue someone with no proof. And that's what they kept doing. They kept going to courts with no proof, claiming fraud. But they had no proof of fraud. They did press conferences outside of the courthouse because they couldn't go into the courthouse because they didn't have any proof of the fraud to show them. Even though all of the Republicans were saying that there's, this election was fraudulent. There's a lot of fraud in this election. Oh my God, such fraud. That's only fraud because your team lost. If your team had won, you would be claiming fraud right now. You wouldn't be there wouldn't be 50-something lawsuits if Trump won. He'd still claim it was a fraudulent election because he claimed that 2016 was a fraudulent election. And then, like if Biden had lost, he wouldn't have complained. I don't think there wouldn't have been a level of lawsuits or complaining if he had lost, because he would have just been like, okay, that's fine, I lost, because he's a reasonable person. I wasn't that big of a Biden supporter when he became the candidate, but like the more that he kept talking at the debates and the more presidential he was acting, the more I liked the guy compared to the pile of uncontrollable shit next to him. Which was a hilarious story that I heard, by the way, about how Trump uncontrollably shits. Look it up. It's a real thing, apparently. And it explains a lot. It explains that whole walking down the ramp thing. But for me, there was just so much election anxiety. And it's like Trump just refuses to lose, but he lost. He lost the popular vote. He lost the electoral vote. He lost both of those things. He lost the popular vote by like 7 million votes. You can't do fraud that much to have him lose, have him actually be the winner. He thinks he actually won, which is so fucking frustrating. And I love how he's only attacking the states that didn't vote for him electorally. Why not go after all of the states? No, you're only going after the ones that you lost. But it's just, the whole thing has just caused so much damn anxiety. I just want him gone. I just want him out of the White House. And all the news places, like CNN and stuff, they seem to say, oh, yep, Biden will become president on January 20th. Are we sure? Are we sure about this? Could things still happen? Even after the Texas lawsuit that everybody said was going to get thrown out, nothing was going to happen with it. I was still afraid something was going to happen with it. Then it turned out that, the Supreme Court, the legal experts apparently were right that the Supreme Court did throw it out. They didn't. 2 of them dissented because they thought it should have at least been claimed, but they still said that it would have been thrown out. I'm just venting about my election anxiety, okay? That's what this episode of the McTaggart Attack Podcast is about, is my election anxiety. If you have election anxiety, feel free to comment on the YouTube video and also subscribe to the video channel, YouTube channel, and like it. Like the video. And if you're listening to the audio, you can subscribe, rate, and review. That would be fantastic also. it's just been so exasperating. I know that when this episode comes out, the Electoral College will be, ratified or whatever the fuck the word is. But even then, he's not going to concede. He doesn't have to concede, I know. But every other president mostly has conceded. But I'm not surprised that he's not going to concede. He's refusing to admit that he lost because he never wants to admit that he loses. But he does lose all the fucking time. He's just the sorest, biggest loser. He's the biggest loser because this is the most votes a loser has ever gotten, so that he's at least got that. But this whole thing, I myself have been through a roller coaster of anxiety with this entire damn election, and January 20th can't come soon enough. But I hope when the Electoral College thing happens, that these Senate Republicans or the Republican leaders just go to Trump and be like, hey, look, you need to stop with this bullshit and just concede and act presidential for once in your fucking presidency. That's all I want. But they're not going to do that. I don't, and like that Texas lawsuit that I mentioned earlier that I think we're all pretty much well aware of, 126 Republican representatives signed an amicus brief for that. 126 traitors to democracy. 126 representatives who shouldn't get reelected in 2 years or whenever the hell they get reelected. I think it's 2 years from now. I'm assuming it's 2 years from now, but still. It's fucking pathetic. It's pathetic. Politicians, you have a 50-50 chance. You have 50-50 chance that you're going to win an election. Act like a decent human being. Act like a good loser. Don't follow your stupid president's fucking lead and refuse to admit defeat even though you lost. If we were going to have a conspiracy, if the Democrats were going to have a conspiracy against the Republicans, don't you think we would have included Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham in that conspiracy too? No, but they were reelected for some stupid reason. But I really hope that the Electoral College gets ratified, and I'm assuming that it will, and then maybe the Republican leaders can tell Trump to act like a grown adult for once, act like a president for once in his presidency, and just concede the damn thing so we can move on with our fucking lives. I don't ever want to get this upset about an election again. I don't ever want to get anxiety about an election again, but I probably am. It's just so annoying. And it's awful, like, that Trump is the worst president we've ever had so far. I posted something on Facebook the other day about that said, Trump lost. And if you don't believe that, then you're an idiot. And I had someone reply, do you think I'm an idiot? And I'm like, I didn't say yes, I thought he was an idiot, but he said things like, well, Biden's not going to be my president. Like, you know what? Trump wasn't I admitted that Trump was my president, even though I didn't like him. But he never replied back to me, this guy, so whatever. But it's just, he lost. And any other election cycle, there wouldn't be this much lawsuits or whatever going on this entire fucking time. But for Trump, it is. And I'm not really surprised that he's acting this way. I was just hoping that he'd act like a decent human being. But he apparently doesn't know how to do that. And that's the bottom line. If you smell what the McTaggart Attack Podcast is cooking.